I said, are you ready?
So, you have ventured in the forest, eager to explore. And now the winding fairy path shall guide you to my door. This magic moss and shrubbery, 3 decades in the making, already set fully charged to get your fandom quaking. So, fly, fools, come hither to discover, meet and play. Your hero is approaching, just mere seconds away. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alexander Ludwig.
Hello, Belgium. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is amazing. Thank you.
Welcome, Alexander. First question.
Hi.
Hey, man.
Who was your favorite character to play with in the Vikings?
Ooh, good question. We were surrounded by so many amazing actors. It's hard to pick just one, but I have to tip my hat to some of the original cast. Obviously Travis, who played Ragnar, Gustav, who played Floki, and Catherine, who played Lagatha. I mean, every time we're all together, and Clive, who played Rollo, every time we're together, it's like the original family's back together. So working with them was just an absolute treat.
Okay. You are my favorite.
Now you're my favorite.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, hey!
Hello, buddy. I thought I was your favorite.
You're also my favorite, Joanne.
First of all, huge congrats, Daddy. Cool. I'm so happy for you. And my question was, since you're both an amazing actor and an amazing musician, what role of all roles ever played would you wish you had played, and what song of all songs ever made would you wish you had made?
It's a great question. Off the top of my head, there's this song called Outskirts of Heaven. It's an amazing song. It's a country song. That's one I wish I wrote. And movie I wish I played in. It's really hard to answer that because I feel like there are so many films that can inspire you to want to do what you want to do, but you can't try to replicate someone else's career. Everybody's journey is their own. So these people serve to inspire you, but you can't follow in their footsteps. You have to kind of blaze your own trail. So I can tell you that the first film that made me want to be an actor was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It was an old film with Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and when I was a kid and I saw that, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and the follow-up question. Can you sing a little part of that song, please?
I would. I can't right now. I would, but my throat is all messed up.
Okay. No problem at all.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
First of all, very nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too.
I'm a very big fan of the series Vikings. We saw in Vikings a lot of very beautiful scenes. Were most part of the series filmed in the studio or at a location?
So any scene when you see the inside of a place is usually filmed on a studio and it's built. Anything outside, you can't fake that. So that's usually outside in nature, and that's something that I loved so much about Vikings was that my job every day was getting to be surrounded by these magnificent Irish landscapes because we filmed in Dublin, Ireland. And I'll miss it, because very few people get a chance to experience that as an actor on a daily basis for as long as I did.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hi, who was it? The son of Ragnar?
Oh, it was it was one of the great experiences of my life. I always look back, when I was first offered Vikings when I was about 19 or 20 years old, and I'm 30 now. And when I first got offered it, or maybe it was like 21, I had said no, because it was a huge commitment overseas, and it was on the History Channel, and I didn't know who was going to see it or if I should do it. And of course, after watching season 1, I was like, it doesn't really matter. Like, this is the kind of show that I want to be a part of as an actor. So it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. There are very few actors in the world who get to show this kind of an arc over time. I mean, you see Bjorn as a child, and you leave him as this, legend with family. And it's an incredible opportunity, and I'm so unbelievably grateful for that. I will say, Travis, so much credit is to him and the original cast. They set up an amazing world that I wasn't a part of. So it was huge shoes to fill for me. But I feel like as I grew as the character, I felt like I grew up as a human. So very naturally, we were able to kind of pass the sword, so to speak, and take over where after Ragnar's passing. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
One of the big things in Viking is the accents. So I was wondering, how hard was it for you to learn the accents? How much did you struggle? How long did it take? And did you have any words that you struggled to say with the accent?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's a great question. Warrior. Like, I'll never forget, we were doing a scene and I had to be super, super intense. And I said, it is me and all these warriors. And they all started laughing, and I was like, what? They said, you said warriors. I was like, shit! And I tried to do it again, and I did it again. The great thing about that accent is nobody knows what the Vikings sounded like. We have an idea of what they could have sounded like, but nobody can watch that and go, oh, that's not how they sounded. So we had a dialect coach on set who kind of blended a version of Icelandic and Norwegian accents and Scandinavian accents into one, and Mid-Atlantic accents, and you kind of got to make it your own. So once you fell into that rhythm, it was like second nature, and it really does help you get into character. Getting to put on that accent and be surrounded by these magnificent sets. You feel like you're a Viking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Alexander.
Hi.
My question actually for you is, how did you react to the death of Ragnarok?
I thought we were screwed. Yeah, I thought the show was going to be over. Ragnar was originally supposed to die at the end of season 1, and Travis was so good and so amazing to watch that they continued his character. The craziest thing about it was that after he died in the show, our viewership went up, and it's not because that he died, but I think it's because people were over time falling in love with the show, and more fell in love with the world. But I looked up to him so much, and he's still one of my best friends. So it was massive shoes to fill, and thankfully together we worked in tandem to create Bjorn and use mannerisms that Ragnar had to show that he's his father's son. Naturally we mirror our parents. So we tried to find this really fine line of blending Bjorn as his own character, but also showing elements of him. So it was tough. I mean, not only do you lose a great character, but you lose a great friend. Because, he was like one of my best friends, and now I don't have to work with him anymore. But, fortunately the show continued, and people seem to... One thing I think is so bold that we did that on the show is that I don't know very many shows who kills off its lead character in the 4th season and then continues. It's very rare to see that, and I kind of love that because it's very symbolic of what it would have been like to live in the Viking times too. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, man.
My question is involved about the fighting in Vikings. As Bjorn, you fight a lot of times, and sometimes it kind of blends over, I guess, as an actor. But what is something you really remember, like most favorite battle scene?
Oh, dude. Oh, man. The battle scenes were incredible. So one of my favorite times on Vikings, there's a few, but one of my favorite was when the brothers avenged Ragnar's death. And there was this huge battle scene. And I think I was fighting one of the English kings, and I yelled charge. And even as an actor, and I've been in this business my whole life, you kind of just expect people to figure things out for you. Sometimes you're like, there's no way that like they're gonna let 100 horses run at you and risk you getting hurt. Like there's just no way. And that's exactly what happened. You know, they're like, just don't get hit by the horses. When we're like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. I'm like, this is amazing. So that we had more extras that day than we had on Braveheart. So it was a massive, massive production. And I'm such an asshole that we were about to shoot and everybody's getting ready to go. And the cameras hadn't started rolling yet. And I just went, action! And everyone started running at each other like, no, no, no! It was amazing. So that was probably one of my favorite days. Thank you.
So, first of all, what is your favorite movie of all time?
I think I gotta go with the one that made me want to be an actor, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's like an old Western. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. And
did Gato find his knife in the Hunger Games?
I'm still looking for it, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Hey. I actually have two questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
First, have you ever been so deep into the character of Björn that even after you left the set, you've behaved or thought like a Viking and thought like, this is not normal?
Yeah, dude. Like, Christmas dinners were never the same after Vikings. My mom would be so pissed off at me because I would just literally grab a turkey leg and just start eating shit. Are you insane? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, this is just how I've been eating for 6 years. Give me a break. So certain things like that. And, you know, on a bit of a darker note, I mean, I like to think that I don't bring anything home with me from set, and I really try not to. Like, when I work, it's just that day, and I've prepped so that I can just get into character and go. But on the real intense days, you know, I think that stays with you a little bit longer when you get home, and it kind of messes with you a little bit. But, you know, other than that, those are like the two that I can remember. Like after a big battle day, you'll come home just like just emotionally and physically drained, you know.
And also, Björn in a fight 1v1 against your character from Hunger Games, who would win?
Oh, Björn would destroy him.
Okay, thank you.
What do you think about Belgium?
I hate it. The people suck. Awful. Actually, my grandmother's from Antwerp. I've only been here once, and I wasn't sober at the time. I've been 5 years sober now, and I went to this place in Brussels called Café Delirium. And, yeah, you guys know it. And I was literally crawling out, and we had a train ride that day, and me and my buddy were puking all over the bathroom of the train. So Belgium has a very, very special place in my heart.
Hey. Was it ever the intention for Björn to be killed off or was there ever any plan for you to make it out alive till the end of the series?
Yeah, so that was actually my decision that I worked on with the writer. When I signed on to Vikings, it was supposed to be 10-episode seasons, which meant that for half the year I could be working on this show that I'm so proud of, and then the rest of the year I could go work on a film. And the show became so successful that they made 20-episode seasons, which I'm so grateful for. Like, it was incredible. But you have to understand that on a personal level, like, I'm in Ireland for 11 months out of the year. My family's back home in Canada. I don't get to see my friends or anybody, and all my best friends on the show are being killed off. So by the end of this show, it was a very lonely experience. I wouldn't change it for the world, and I'm so, like, Vikings changed my life, but by the end of it, I ended up calling the president of MGM and just being like, listen, I think I've done everything that we set out to do with this show. You know, all the promises that were made to me in success of Vikings, they're like, look, if this show is successful, here's where your character's going to be, and here's where he's going to go. He's going to be a boy, you know, a warrior, a man, a king, a legend. And I'm like, I feel like we've done this. So Michael and I were also talking, and Michael's our creator, and we said, and listen, like, you need time to tie this show up with the new brothers. You know, like, Bjorn we've told his story now. We need to let the audience see what happens to the rest of the guys. So the deal was, actually I've never said this to anybody really, but the deal was that I would help carry the show over to the first episode of the last season. So by the end of the season before the last season, you wouldn't know if Bjorn was alive or dead. And in the first episode of the last, you would know for sure that he was gone. And I love that idea because, again, I don't know many main characters who were killed off at the beginning of a season, you know, other than maybe, yeah, I don't even remember if Game of Thrones they did that, but was that early? Yeah, so maybe that one. But I love the idea. And then Michael pitched how Bjorn dies, and I just thought, I can't think of a more epic death for a character. And in a way, even though he's dead, in so many symbolic ways, he is the man who could never die. And I just love the way he went out. I wouldn't change that at all.
One more question. One of my favorite directors is Guy Ritchie, and you have a movie made with him. It's coming out this year, I think.
Yeah, it's coming out is it April?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it April 1st? Oh, shit. I should have pranked you guys. Happy April Fools, guys. Yeah, it comes out this month, April 23rd.
Is there anything you can say about your character?
Yeah, so I mean, this is called The Covenant. I did it with Jake Gyllenhaal and Guy Ritchie, and it's about a soldier who goes missing in Afghanistan, and his life is saved by this interpreter, and he has to go back to get him. I play Jake's best friend, who kind of helps him throughout the movie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Hey, man.
So my question builds a bit on a question that was asked before. It's about the death of Ragnar. So obviously he was like the main character. So you know, I remember thinking when he died, like, where is the show going to go now? Am I going to like this show further on? And first of all, you all did a great job. I loved the remaining seasons, but how do you go about that as an actor? That you probably felt that, did you feel more pressure on your shoulders? Did you feel more responsibility? Did you change things? How do you go about that?
I appreciate you saying that, man. Just know the feeling was mutual. I was like, I don't know how we're going to survive this. But I took Michael aside and I said, look, if Travis isn't coming back, like this is what has to happen. You know, like Bjorn, the firstborn son, you know, we've been priming this show for this moment. And this doesn't normally happen in TV shows ever, let alone $100 million show. Like, so much credit is owed to our creator for being so open to discussions with their actors. This doesn't always happen. More often than not, you're kind of told what to do and you really have to push back if you don't agree with it. But he was so collaborative. So yeah, I knew I had huge shoes to fill, like massive shoes to fill. And the thing is, you cannot try to replace anybody. Yeah, you have to find your own way. And at one point, you stop to be the best artist you can be in anything, and I believe this for life, not even just for an actor. Of course I want to please everybody in this room, and I want you to love what I do, but I can't think about you. I have to think about the character. That has to be what matters. And whether or not people like it isn't up to me. It's up to you. You know, and if you... So for me, I was like, I'm just going to do Björn the best I can possibly do it, and hope people like it. You know? So that was kind of my mentality.
You did great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hi.
Hey.
You sing?
I'm sorry?
You sing. Your album is really good.
Thank you so much.
Are you planning to do a concert in Belgium?
Now I am, for sure. I mean, I don't know if you guys like country music, but if you want, you can come on down, we'll play a bar or something. It's been an amazing thing I get to do as well. You know, I love writing music, and country music has always meant a lot to me growing up. So yeah, I would love to. I played a few concerts in Germany, and it was incredible. Yeah. Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I wonder, would you have rather played Ragnar than Björn?
Sorry?
Would you rather have played Ragnar than Björn?
Absolutely not. Again, when you watch, people ask me what character would you have played if you weren't Björn. It's impossible now to look at it because I could never picture anybody else playing these roles. I always thought Ivar was a tremendous character. I loved that whole storyline as well. But no, I really don't believe that Vikings would have been a success without the people who were in their respective roles. That's the craziest thing about making a TV show or a film. You know, when you watch an actor that you love, and then you love and you follow their careers, and then you see a movie and you're like, why did they do that? Like, I didn't like that movie. Inevitably that's going to happen because so much has to go right to make something good. Like, I have to show up and do my job. My co-stars have to do their job. The lighting department has to do their job. The director has to do his. People have to see it. It's like, it's crazy. So I'm just so blessed to have been part of a tremendous cast.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
After playing in Vikings, is there any other historical era you would like to play in?
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, historical dramas are like my jam. I would do so many if I could. It's just hard to find the right ones at the right time, but always wanted to do a good Western. Always wanted to do something in like the Greek, kind of Roman times. I think would be really interesting. The Dark Ages would be amazing. I mean, I love historical dramas because I also feel like you're learning as well. And I do feel like people love to learn and be entertained at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I wanted to ask, since you have some Belgian blood into your veins, my original question was what was your favorite beer? But I know that you're a bit sober now, so what is your favorite Belgian delicacy?
My Belgian delicacy? Okay, well, I haven't tried Belgian fries yet, but I hear they're amazing. And I hear I should never call them French fries again, ever. So, note taken. I mean, dude, your chocolates are insane. They're insane. They're so good. So I'm gonna have to go with that. I also love like Delirium Tremens beer back in the day. Love that beer. Now I'm on the non-alcoholic Heinekens. So boring.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi. In Vikings, which girlfriend did you find the most beautiful?
He's trying to get all the women in my life mad at me right now.
Sorry.
Most beautiful. I mean, everyone's beautiful in their own way, man. Let me tell you this. I'll say this. I felt like it was really beautiful from a different standpoint, and this is going to be the most like politically correct bullshit answer, but it's actually just true. I loved when, oh my god, what are their names? No, not the people. The Sami tribe. I wish we did a whole season about the Sami tribe. Like, the Samis, like there was this scene where like I meet this like princess from like the Sami tribe. I just thought that whole tribe was so cool in its own way. It felt like like when you read these like things about like the old American West and like the Native American tribes that existed there. The Samis lived off the land and are so spiritual, and I would have loved to have explored that more. So that relationship was a really, really cool one for me. Look, I've been very lucky in Vikings. Apparently Bjorn is just a total whore, but you know, I was surrounded by a ton of really talented and beautiful actresses. Yeah.
And then my second question is, which of your siblings would have been most fit to be king?
I think Uba would probably have been the best ruler, because he was just the most, you know, straight-edged. Bjorn was kind of a bit of a loose cannon sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Hi.
Hi.
I love your work and your music.
Oh, thank you.
And my question was, what was a quote from Vikings that stayed with you?
It's in Old Norse. It's je sagde teren der je wonen komen ook wel met termis tava yakala sakat talaimon periast. And it means when spring comes and my blood starts to boil, I want to raid and I want to fight. I just always remember that. I don't know why. That was fun.
Thank you.
I also love the quote. Ragnar said it, and I'm going to butcher this, but it is. Oh shit! I can't even remember. It's like power is only meant for those who are ready to reach down to pick it up. Or I'm going to butcher it. You gotta look it up. It's a great quote. I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah, I love the whole the last scenes with Ragnar when he's in the cage.
Yeah.
That whole
monologue.
Text. Yeah, that was very nice. Yeah. That was my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's a great quote. I mean, I always loved when he said, "Oh, how the little piggies will grunt when they find out how the Old Norse suffered." I just love that. I loved when we got to speak in Old Norse. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. Hey.
First off, congrats on the pregnancy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Really,
you think I'm showing yet?
This picture was great. A couple days ago.
Dude, People magazine just posted about it, and I was like, okay, like I meant for like my friends and like some of my Instagram followers to see this, like not the whole world, but it was a joke. Okay,
perfect picture.
Yeah.
I have two questions. First off, Vikings, obviously a fan.
I never would have guessed.
You would have never guessed. Everything you did as Bjorn was amazing. Now they did the sequel, Valhalla.
Yeah.
First off question, have you seen it and do you like it?
I have not seen it.
Plan on seeing it?
I actually haven't seen the end of Vikings, so I have some catching up to do, believe it or not. But, I mean, I've heard good things. I talked to the cast before they went to do it. I mean, look, naturally, it's always going to be hard for fans of the original to spin-offs are hard, but
great.
It's good. Good. I mean, I know a lot of people watched it, so that's what matters, and I'm happy that people love it. And I mean, to me, it's such a nod to like, it's so special to me that like Netflix bought the rights to it and they want to do their own thing. It just makes me feel special that we got to be a part of something from the beginning that has, lasted this long. It's really special.
All right. My second question was actually about heels. Really hyped for the second season.
Yeah.
Can you tell me anything about like your training? Because I believe you do your own stunts.
Yeah.
I think I've seen you do somersaults and things off the top rope. And
yeah.
Do you need a lot of training?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I do this other TV show right now called Heels, which is about pro wrestling in Georgia, and it's on Stars. I don't know what it would be on here in Belgium, but it's crazy what these guys do in real life, and that was more physically demanding than even Vikings, because you can't fake any of that. Like I'm pretty much have to do all these wrestling matches myself, and my co-star actually broke his back while we were filming. So it was Steven. Yeah. So it was pretty intense. So it's an exhausting one, and we trained with all the pro wrestlers and all of that, and I love the show. I'm so proud of the writing on that, and I think that the second season will be out sometime in the latter half of this year, probably. Better. Thanks, man.
Hi. When Agatha died, how did it feel for you?
I'm sorry?
When Agatha, Bjorn's mother, died, how did it feel for you?
When Lagatha died? Lagatha?
Agatha, your mother.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Lagatha, my mom.
Yeah.
When mommy died. Yeah. It was heartbreaking. I mean, again, when you lose somebody in a show, you're also losing them in real life. And Catherine has been she's a sister to me. And that was really tough. Fortunately, after we shot that, she also directed an episode that I was in, so we got to spend more time together. But from an acting perspective, I was really excited to show that funeral scene, especially just because it's rare you get to see that kind of emotion from Bjorn, and you realize his one true love through all of this was his mother. You know, he loves his mother more than he never really found the love of his life, but he's always had that love for his mother.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
I have a question about the preparation for the fighting scenes in Vikings. So, how did the preparation of the fights go? Is it some kind of sequence that you have to taught? Or did you get to give any input on yourself on the fights?
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to give a lot of input on fight sequences because just like anything, it's a part of the story, and you want to tell your own story. There's certain things that Bjorn would and wouldn't do. It's very much a dance when you're rehearsing it. But the difference between like a karate movie and Vikings is that like when you're surrounded by 100 people all swinging axes, all preparation goes to shit. And then you're just literally hitting everyone left and right, just whatever you can do, and you're making it up, and the camera's trying to find it. And almost always, actors would leave there with cuts and bruises and all of that. But you wore it with pride. So yeah, we would train for like weeks before the fight sequence. But essentially, as you do it more, you get better at it. And sometimes on the day you would just modify things and change things based on your scene, based on what's around you and your environment. There's a scene. Have you seen the whole season or the whole series?
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this. There's a scene where Thoran, my first girlfriend in the show, out of the 150 I had, she falls, and she's pregnant at the time, and I tackle this guy off of him, and then I use his own helmet, and I bash his head in. That was my idea, to use the helmet, as opposed to something else, because I felt like that was something that hadn't been seen, and in reality, you would use whatever you could find in the moment. So there's certain things that we change. It's not like a martial arts film or something. It's a lot more raw.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I recognize it because I do sword fighting for myself, and it's nice to hear you say that it always, even if you have you practiced it, it can go wrong. I
mean, the worst thing you can do if something goes wrong is stop, because if you hit somebody while you're filming, it means that it's sold. So as long as the person isn't like hurt to the point where they're going to need to go to the hospital, you're kind of an asshole if you stop the scene, because then you just punch somebody in the face for no reason. They're like, why would you stop? Like, you hit me for real. This is going to sell on camera. You know, so it's this kind of fun banter. And then if you hit, I have a rule that if I hit a stuntman by accident, or they hit me, like, I buy them a bottle of whiskey. You know, so it's stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the advice.
Thank you.
Hey man, on a follow-up of that question, how many of your hours are spent in actually learning how to sword fight?
Especially at the beginning of the show, you know, we'd be spending at least like 6 hours to 6 hours, like 6 different sessions, at least an hour each, leading up to a big fight. And then we would film the fight, like the rehearsal, and then I would go over the rehearsal so I knew it. But by the time you've done it enough, it does become second nature, to the point where you can limit that. You have to understand that if you're filming every day, it's really hard to get rehearsal time as well. So usually you're going in on the weekends or after filming. By the time you're just exhausted. And Vikings was an exhausting show. It's an amazing show to be a part of, but it really was not a show for divas. Like everybody there, including the crew and the cast, were living in the mud, living in the rain for, you know, year after year in the freezing cold. Or if we were in Africa in the boiling hot sun when I was in Morocco. So it was pretty relentless, and I think that everybody bonded over that. But it also made rehearsal time really hard. So when you had the time, you would rehearse your scenes, but sometimes you just have to make it up on the day.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
I would just like to ask you, aside from acting and music, how do you enjoy spending your time?
How do I like to spend my time?
Yeah.
I'm a total adrenaline junkie. So I skydive recreationally. I have my license, so me and my friends, we love to jump out of planes. I also love to surf. I love skiing. I just went heli skiing the other day, and it was incredible. I love adventure, and I love traveling. Obviously, when I have a baby girl, it's going to have to change a little bit, but I love the outdoors, and I love spending as much time as I can in nature. I feel like that's where I'm at my most comfortable, is when I get away from it all, and it kind of reminds me about what's actually important in life, you know?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, 2 questions. First one, not Viking related, but Bad Boys 3. What was it like to be the nice, sweet guy and suddenly just ravaging everything up?
Yeah, thanks. When I read the script, I loved that character because it's so unlike anything that people would have expected from me. I think a lot of the times I play these like very masculine roles, and I think that it's always fun to mix it up and do new things. And Dorn, the character I played in Bad Boys, is a tech whiz, but then you find out that the reason he's been staying in the van the whole time is because he accidentally killed a guy, and he's afraid of doing it again, until the very end when, without giving it away, you see his true colors. So we're actually going to do the 4th movie. I literally leave to go shoot that, not tomorrow, but the next day. So you'll see a Bad Boys 4 soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Second question, after doing Lone Survivor, Bad Boys 3 and all the shooter movies, what was it like in Vikings to actually not shooting with guns, but swinging axes and swords?
I mean, I look at the things I've been lucky enough to do in my life and the movies I've been able to be a part of, and I just think my 12-year-old self would be so proud. I never, in my wildest dreams, could have imagined I would have been a part of so many cool things like this, but it's just a different skill set in its own way. I don't know if I prefer one to the other. It's more about the story. I would say that out of everything I've done so far, Vikings is probably the one I'm most proud of. But it's also the one I'm most proud of because it's the one where I've had the most to do. You do films and shows for different reasons. There's a variety of different reasons why you would do them, but Vikings, I got to show an arc that is very rare. So I'm always going to lean to that as being one of my most treasured experiences.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Now, what do you think about the Belgian producers Bilal and Adil?
Sorry, the
Belgian producers Adel and Bilal.
Bilal, the directors.
Yes,
they're also producers. They're incredible, absolutely incredible. They're some of my favorite people to work with. To those of you who don't know, the directors of Bad Boys. If you haven't seen Bad Boys, it's a movie with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith starring. It's a really, really fun film. You should check it out. I did the third one, and we're about to do the fourth. And Adil and Bilal are Belgian directors. They're from, I think, Brussels originally. They're amazing. They're young guys. They're filled with love of cinema and life and zero egos and just everything you could hope for in a colleague. And I'm so grateful to work with them.
Yeah. And one more thing. If you want to go eat some nice Belgian beef stew, you can eat at the restaurant Witte Leeuw for free at Ghent. Check it out.
What's it called?
The Witte Leeuw at the Graslei.
Okay, amazing.
You can come eat for free.
You're amazing. Thank you, man. I'm going to make you regret that. Guess what? Guys, he's got free food for all of us.
It's only for you.
All right, Alexander, final question. If you were to interview yourself, what question would you ask yourself?
That's a great question. I mean, it's a boring question, but I think it's a great one because I always ask myself, like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I being interviewed? You know, what's the purpose of this? Like, it's not so I feel good. So I think that it's something that people could take away from the interview. So it's, you know, what's the advice you give yourself? Or if you wanted, you know, to be an actor, what would you do? Or something to do with just some sort of knowledge that people could take home with them. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for. Give it up for Alexander!
Thank you guys so much.